Let me take you to a week ago. I was standing in my garden staring at soil that looked more like dry cocoa powder than living earth. You know the kind. Light, dusty, and lifeless. I'd been growing in this bed for a couple of seasons without adding much more than a sprinkle of compost here and there, and it was starting to show. Plants were sluggish, leaves pale, and the earth just felt dead. Now, I've used all the usual tricks before: compost tea, molasses, kitchen scrap brews. But that day, I decided to try something totally different. I wasn't thinking fertilizer at all. I was thinking about feeding the workers behind the scenes, the microscopic army of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes that turn dead dirt into living soil. What happened next still amazes me. I mixed together a few odd things from my kitchen, nothing fancy, nothing expensive, and poured it right into the garden. Just 4 days later, the soil was darker, softer, and had that earthy smell you get in a healthy forest. By day 7, I was finding earthworms and tiny fungal threads all over. No fertilizer, no bagged amendments, just a strange little microbe feast. Today, I'm going to share exactly what I did, why it worked, and how you can do it in your own garden starting right now. I didn't go into this with a plan. I was just cleaning up my kitchen counter, you know. There was this overripe banana sitting there, its peel all mottled brown, and right next to it a jar of spent coffee grounds from my morning brew. I remembered reading somewhere that banana sugars can wake microbes up like a jolt of energy, and coffee grounds help keep them working long after that sugar rush is gone. That's when I spotted the apple cider vinegar in my pantry. Raw, unfiltered, full of living cultures. It's basically a probiotic drink for soil life, so I grabbed it. The last thing I added wasn't even in my kitchen, it was outside in my rain barrel. Chlorine-free rainwater is honestly one of the best things you can give your garden, especially if you want to encourage those delicate microbes that get wiped out by tap water chemicals. So here's what I did. I tossed the banana, peel and all, into a blender with about 2 cups of rainwater and blitzed it until it was a smooth slurry. Then I added about half a cup of spent coffee grounds and blended just enough to mix it all together. Last, I poured in a tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar, gave it one more pulse, and boom! My micro brew was ready to go. This isn't magic, it's microbiology. Microbes need food just like we do. Sugars from the banana act like quick fuel, giving bacteria an instant boost of energy. That surge in activity helps them multiply rapidly, which is exactly what you want if you're trying to bring soil back to life. The coffee grounds add nitrogen, a key building block for protein, which microbes need to grow and reproduce. They also create structure in the soil, encouraging water retention while preventing compaction. On top of that, coffee grounds have compounds that beneficial fungi love, and those fungi are the long-term architects of healthy soil. The apple cider vinegar adds an acidic punch. Many soil bacteria thrive in slightly acidic environments, and the live cultures in raw vinegar can help seed your soil with beneficial organisms. Think of it like giving your garden a probiotic shot. And the rainwater? That's just about keeping everything alive. Tap water can contain chlorine or chloramine, both of which kill microbes. Using rainwater means you're not undoing all your hard work the moment you pour your brew into the soil. So I poured my mixture right onto the soil, focusing on the areas where my plants were struggling most. You don't need to drench your garden, just enough to moisten the top few inches of soil. That's where most of your microbes live and work. If your soil is really compacted, you can lightly loosen the surface with a fork first. This helps the slurry soak in instead of just sitting on top. I did this in the late afternoon so the microbes could get to work overnight without being blasted by direct sunlight. By the next morning I could already see subtle differences. The soil surface looked darker, almost as if it had been lightly watered. 3 days in, the smell changed. It had that deep, sweet, earthy scent you find when you dig into a healthy forest floor. By the end of the week, I found worm castings scattered around. Worms had moved in, which meant they were finding something worth eating. So, the key to this method is balance. If you use too much banana, You might overfeed the bacteria, which can actually cause a temporary oxygen shortage as they explode in population. On the other hand, too much coffee and, well, you could end up with soil that's just a bit too acidic. Personally, I stick to 1 medium banana, half a cup of coffee grounds, a tablespoon of vinegar, and about 2 cups of rainwater for every square meter of garden bed. If you don't have rainwater handy, you can let tap water sit out in an open container for about 24 hours to let the chlorine evaporate. But, if your municipality uses chloramine, which doesn't evaporate, you'll need to filter it out with a basic carbon filter. You can repeat this feeding every 2 to 3 weeks during the growing season, or just once a month in the cooler months. It's gentle enough that you won't burn your plants or overwhelm the soil, but it's still powerful enough to keep your microbial community thriving. What I love about this method is that it's not about dumping in nutrients from outside sources. It's about making the life already in your soil multiply and work harder for you. You know, healthy soil microbes break down organic matter, release nutrients in forms plants can use, improve soil structure, and even help protect roots from disease. When you feed microbes directly, you're investing in a living system instead of just topping off a nutrient bank. That's more sustainable in the long run, and it means your garden will get better every year instead of requiring more and more inputs. If you stick with microbe feeding like this, you'll notice some exciting changes. Soil that used to crust over after rain will stay loose and crumbly. Plants will root more deeply and grow faster because the underground environment is more stable and nutrient-rich. You might even see mushrooms popping up after a good soaking rain. That's a sign that beneficial fungi are thriving. I've found that my garden bounces back from stress faster now. A hot week in midsummer doesn't wilt my plants as quickly, and they recover in a day instead of a week. That's the power of a strong soil ecosystem at work. So here's my challenge for you. Look at your garden soil today. Is it alive or does it need a wake-up call? If it's the latter, grab a banana, some coffee grounds, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and a bit of rainwater, and try this simple feeding. Give it a week, and then tell me if you don't see and smell the difference. We're building not just gardens here at Hydrohaven, but a community of growers who share old tricks, new experiments, and everything in between. If you found this guide helpful, hit that subscribe button, and share it with a fellow gardener. You never know who might be sitting on a lifeless patch of soil that just needs a little microbial magic to come back to life.